Machzorim in front of you. We're going to begin with those words in the very middle of the page, the words in bold, Or Zarua Lat Tzadik. And as the rabbi said, tonight is almost all, with the exception of, the Bishiva Shamala and Kol Nidre, everything else is review. We've done it all. Okay. The difference is between what we did before and what we're doing tonight is that we're actually doing it start to finish. And what you'll notice, I think, is by the time we're done, we'll have just enough time to get through all this in about an hour, which tells you how much time the rabbi's sermon and the president's message are every year. This should take an hour. Okay, Stuart, note to self, right? Okay. All right, so let's start with Or Zarua and join in with me again. This is all review. We've gone over this already. Or Zarua la tzadik ul yishre lev simcha. 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 And you can repeat that as you choose. There's no maximum or minimum number of times to do that. You can just, if you find that it gets you in a meditative space, continue doing it as long as you feel like. Then when we're going to continue on from there. Sue, are you asking a question? Hold on, I can't unmute you, Sue, because I am not the host.
So, you said 2.
I said what?
What was the page you said we should start on?
204.
Ah, I heard 202. No wonder I didn't find Or Zarua la tzadik.
Yes. Okay. So we're on 204.
Now I see it.
All right. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So 204.
Mike,
Yes.
can you speak a little bit louder?
Can I speak louder? Let's see.
Speak louder. We have you on full volume, and it's a little hard to hear you.
Let's see. Oh, look at that. My
What you do?
every time I shut my Zoom, it seems to be at random that it decides to cut my volume in half. Wow. I never know which time it's going to be, and apparently it was this time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody heard that we just did Or Zarua, right? All right, so we're going on to Bishiva Shamala. The instruction here is to do it 3 times, and so we will do it 3 times right now. Very simple, repetitive chant, and it goes like this. Bishiva shel mala, uvishiva shel mata, al dat hamakom, ve'al dat hakahal, anu matirin lehitpalel, im havaryanim. Second time. Bishiva shel mala, uvishiva shel mata, al da'at hamakom, ve'al da'at hakahal, anu matirin lehitpalel, im havaryanim. Third time's the charm. Bishiva shel mala, uvishiva shel mata, al dat hamakom, ve'al dat hakahal, anu matirin lehitpalel, im havaryanim. And just a quick note, sort of a rhetorical question. Why do we chant this 3 times? It's not because it has any intrinsic worth of its own as a prayer. It's a legal formula. And in this legal formula requires the recitation of this 3 times. Same with Kol Nidre. It's a legal formula. and we're going to chant it 3 times. So we chant the Beshiva Shel Mala 3 times, and then we go into the Kol Nidre. We chant the Kol Nidre 3 times in a row. You know, I know that what I'm going to try to do is to present you with the simplest way of doing it that I can. It's probably, the rabbi may have his own simple way of doing it that hopefully maybe I'll ask him to do when he comes back, because you may find it a little simpler than mine. But however you do it is fine. Again, the basic motif here is da 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 da. That's like that's the core, that's the guts of Kol Nidre. Like when you hear that, you know it's Yom Kippur, right? We have all kinds of nusach for the rest of the year, all kinds of sounds that are supposed to, be our emotional musical clock to tell us what time of day it is, what time of year it is, what day of the week it is. And this melody, more than probably any other melody that we have in the tradition, tells us it's Yom Kippur. Okay? So whatever you do for the rest of it, try to start out with that. Try to hew as closely as possible to that. So here's how I would do it, very loosely. Kol nidre ve'esarei v'charamei ve'konamei ve'chinoyei ve'kinosei u'shevuot dinin darna u'deishtabana u'deacharimna v'di asarna al nafshatana miyom kippurim zeh ad Yom Kippurim haba aleinu letova kul hon yicharatna vehon kol hon yehon sharan shevikin beteli vutali la sheririn vela kayamin nidrana la nidre esarana la esare ushevuatana la shevut. And that is your Kol Nidre. Now you can, if I were to do it again right now, I would not be able to recreate that. What I would do again would be totally different, because I'm just kind of improvising right now, keeping it simple. So I will say one other thing about this, which is that we are recording the entire service. So you'll hear me doing this at some point if you want. Don't tell the rabbi I said that. Okay. All right. So after the 3 repetitions of Kol Nidre, we're going to V'nislach. Okay, and again, it's the 3 times for V'nislach because it's a legal formula. Again, it's not that the prayer has any intrinsic, value as a prayer. It's a legal formula, and we're going to do it 3 times, just like everything else. So here's how it goes. ונצלח לכל הדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל עם בשגגה ונצלח לכל הדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל עם בשגגה ונסלח לכל הדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל עם בשגגה. And then the next line with salachna is only recited once. Salachna lavon ha'am hazeh כגודל חסדך וכיפך אשר נשאת לעמך זה ממצרים בידנו ושם נאמר. Now the next line, Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha, 3 times. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. And now we go right into something that everybody knows. Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. And that is it's not the whole Mari, but that's the Kol Nidre service. That's the entirety of it. We go on from there to the Mari service, which is mostly silent, except for a few things here and there, the Chatimot and whatnot. And then it continues after that with Ya'aleh, which we did last week. So before we go on, Rabbi, I wanted to, welcome back, and I wanted to have you say a couple of words just about Kol Nidre before we go on. As a cantor, it inspires, it definitely an awe-inspiring, a fear-inspiring moment for the cantor, because you feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders to get Kol Nidre right. But that said, as far as I can tell I've looked at musical settings of this from all over the place, and they're all relatively simple. Kol Nidre is not that difficult to sing. What I think makes it feel so weighty is the meaning of sticking around in the tradition. But Rabbi, would you agree? I think musically it's actually not that difficult to pick up this chant and to do it yourself.
So thank you. Let me take a moment to talk about that. And I don't know if you touched on it in my absence, but look, obviously the music is significant. The music is significant because it's been set to so many orchestrations, and the music itself conjures up the emotion of the evening. What is the emotion of the evening? The emotion of the evening is we have just finished a meal, literally an hour before. We have raced to get to shul. We are all dressed, we are washed, we are completely full, we are anticipating the fast. And let's be honest, in the context of the shul, that's the night. Everyone dressed in white, more or less, and the whole congregation is present. What makes it doubly emotional for us is that we have private memories associated with that evening, including, you know, personages of people that we are missing. Um, you know, in the procession, the procession is a very, very emotional moment. And you know, we always make mention of Julie Funk at the beginning with Itchuli Shari Tzedek was his verse to sing. And you know, I think on an emotional level, we have made it to another year. And here we are entering this moment, which is not terribly understood by most people, that Yom Kippur, as a day of fasting, a day of wearing the kittel, a day of refraining from everything, is really a rehearsal for death. And we are saying goodbye and saying we are engaged in a kind of mourning, and yet we are also engaged in anticipation of being atoned and being cleansed and renewal. And as you've heard me say in different places, that is reflected in the music. The music of Kol Nidre is a very ominous music. Kol Nidre. I mean, how many Holocaust films are use that soundtrack? I mean, it's a very, very mournful soundtrack, and yet, by the time that you get to Vayomer Adonai Salachti Kidvarecha, so you may quibble with the interpretations. You sang it with going into minor. You could also sing it going into major. Vayomer Adonai Salachti Kidvarecha. You had two minors and the last one major, right? It's Vayomer Adonai Salachti Kidvarecha, Vayomer Adonai Salachti Kidvarecha, Vayomer Adonai Salachti Kidvarecha. I sing it major. And then, by the time you get to Shechianu is I call it home. It's coming home. It's coming to relief. It's coming to the sense of we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We made it to another year. And here, how did you sing it? You sang it with.
I did it. Shechianu, Bekiyamanu, Egianu, Lavman Hazeh.
Also very beautiful. You can do the yontif tune, the other yontif tune.
Shechianu.
That's home. Also.
Yeah.
Nature, and that's emotion. That is the sentimentality of we made it to another year. So, what I would say, just in terms of the mechanics of singing this, doing this service, is you do the best you can as you've been doing for all the others. You know the basic melody. It's almost a scale, if I might, and it's not necessary. And the other thing I would say is, if the confidence in the music and the words is an issue, English is absolutely acceptable and accessible, and all that anyone is asking in this unique year is to step into a moment where you can actually read these in any way that you find meaningful. So let's move on. We'll go to Yale. Go ahead.
Okay. What page do we have that on?
I think that's 240. No.
Oh, you know what, Rabbi? Before we go on to Yale, I do have a question. It came up today during the session. Why is it that there's a vidui both in the silent Amida? When I say vidui, I'm talking about the al-chetz and the ashamnu. You'll find that in the silent Amida. And there's another one in this section of the Slichot that follows. Why is there a vidui in the silent Amida?
So here I would say the most accessible answer to that question is that vidui on Yom Kippur contains both the private aspect and the public aspect. That is to say, each one of us has things that we are seeking atonement for. And as part of a community, we are all taking responsibility for each other and helping each other in the process of our collective atonement. And so that dynamic plays itself out in the silent and the public. Now, the Mariv is not repeated, So we're giving a second opportunity for this for the vidui. But notice that in the traditional format, every single service, the shacharit, the musaf, they all have two viduis, a private and a public, and that I think falls along the lines that I'm talking about, which is to say that the dimensions of our spiritual endeavor here, there's a private, deeply personal part, which is private prayer. That's the silent Amida. And there's a public part, which is the aspect of self that is what in anthropology is called the ritual self. So I have the authentic self and the sincere self and the ritual self. The ritual self is the self that becomes something else when joined with other people. Okay.
Great. All right, so we're moving on to Ya'aleh on 223, which is the beginning of the slichot, the public part of the service again. And we're just going to chant, we'll just do the first half of it, just like we did last week. And again, we'll chant it. Remember, it's got an A and a B part. The A part goes for the first two stanzas. The B part goes for the next two stanzas. Then if you choose to continue, do the A and the B the same way, okay? Here's, join in with me. Ya'aleh tachanunenu me'erev ve'yavo shavatenu miboker ve'yira'eh rinonenu ad arev ya'aleh kolenu me'erev ve'yavo tzidkatenu miboker ve'yira'eh pinyoneinu ad arev ya'aleh inuyenu me'erev ve'yavo slikatenu miboker ve'yira'eh tachanunenu ad arev ya'aleh menusenu me'erev ve'yavo lemano miboker ve'yira'eh kippureinu ad arev. And that is half of Ya'aleh. Continue with the other half if you choose. Then we're going to go next to 225. Hanasham Alach. And again, we chant the first two lines. The melody goes with both, and here's how it goes. Hanesham alach ve'haguf polach chusa chusa alam alach hanesham alach ve'haguf shelach Adonai aseh leman shemecha haneshama lach ve'aguf polach chusa chusa amalach haneshama lach והגוף שלך אדוני יעשה למען שמך. Okay, Hanasham Alach. The next place we're going to go is straight to the middle of 226. And we sing Adonai Adonai El Rachum V'Chanun. This is the first time that it appears. If you can muster it, it's always a good idea to start with the few lines before it to get into it. It starts. You would start chanting if you wish to at the red diamond, and it goes like this: Ta'avor al pesha. Everybody see that? Okay. Ta'avor al pesha v'timche asham keyom vayityatzeh v'mosham. Ta'azin shavatenu v'takshiv menu mamar keyom vayikra b'shem Adonai. And then everybody present would chant this next line: Vayavor Adonai al panav vayikra. And then you go straight into Adonai Adonai. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed L'Alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, only once. Go right into the next line. V'salachta, v'salachta la'avonenu ulchatatenu unchatanu. And keep going. Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu, mechalanu malkeinu ki fashanu. Ki ata Adonai tov v'salach v'rav chesed lechol kore'echa. And if the Hebrew there is too much for you, again, as with everything else, the English is perfectly good. Perfectly good. If you make sure to get that Adonai, Adonai in Hebrew. We know that melody because we've been singing it for our whole lives. If you can get that in the Hebrew, that'd be great. Otherwise, English again, always English, always default if you need to, if your comfort level just isn't there, always go back to the English. Okay, we go straight to the next page. I did this once already today, so it's a little, my voice is a little worn out, but now we're going to go on with Kihine Kachomer, okay? And what I said to the other class today, I'll say it again. This is a page with a lot of text, and whether you do it in the Hebrew or the English, each one of these stanzas is a subtly different expression of the same idea, right? That we are the material in the hands of God in whatever incarnation, whatever symbolic representation that takes. And in this particular thing, there are seven different ways that God is expressed as the shaper of us. So you can do them all, do half of them, do one. As long as you get one of them in, English, Hebrew, whatever, it's worth it. Okay? Here's the melody that we did the other night, and that I would recommend. Ki hine kachomer beyad hayotzer birtzoto marchiv uvirtzoto mekatzer kein anachnu beyadecha Chesed notzer labrit abet ve'yaltef en layetzer ki כאבן ביד המסתת ברצותו אוחז וברצותו מחטט כן אנחנו בידך מחיה וממות לברית הבן ואל תפל היצר. And then you just go through the rest of the stanzas, alternating each stanza, the A part of the music versus the B part of the music. Okay, and in the interest of time, because we did a little bit more talking tonight than we did this afternoon, I think let's go right on to the next thing, which you'll find on 229. This is our second repetition of the Adonai Adonai El Rachum verse, and what I want you to notice is that we're going to get it in 3 times, but unlike Shabbat where we do it 3 times right in a row, we're having all these other things interwoven in between. So we're still getting the formula, I guess the tripartite formula, if you will, but we're doing it with all kinds of other poetic material and insertions. So as with the previous time, if you could start at the diamond to get into it, that's great. If not, do the previous part in English. It starts with El Horeta Lanu. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll chant together the Adonai Adonai Rachum. El Horeta Lanu Lomar Shelosh Esrei Zechor Lanu Hayom Barit Shelosh Esrei כמו שהודעת לעיניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם Adonai. And then everybody present normally would respond with the Vaya'avor Adonai al panav, Vayikra, and then right into Adonai Adonai. Adonai Adonai El Rachum Vechanun Erech Apayim Verav Chesed Ve'emet Notzer Chesed Lalafim Nosei avon v'fesha v'chata'a v'nakeh. And you continue right into the next line. V'salachta lavonenu u'chatatenu u'nchaltanu. And we keep going. Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu, mechalanu malkeinu ki fashanu. Ki ata Adonai tov v'salach v'rav chesed lecho kore'echa. And those last several lines there after the Adonai el rachum v'chanun, that's the key here, right? In the Adonai Adonai verse, that's the verse where we talk about how forgiving God is. Okay, great, we talked about how forgiving God is. Now we have to ask God to forgive us. So if we don't get those last few lines in, we haven't done it, you know? So really make sure you get those in, whether you're doing it in the Hebrew or in the English. Okay? We are moving on. And Rabbi 233, would that be Shema Kolenu?
Kolenu. So we have a lovely congregational melody. I'm just going to sing a couple of verses here, and it has a chorus refrain. Shema Shema Kolenu, Shema Shema Kolenu, Shema Shema Kolenu. Shema, 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 koleinu. Then usually the verses are chanted, and you can use a very simple chant, a one-note chant. Shema koleinu Adonai Eloheinu, uzirachem aleinu bekaber berachamim uratzon et tfilateinu. Shema Shema koleinu, Shema Shema koleinu, Shema Shema koleinu, Shema 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 koleinu. And if you want to give it a little bit of soul, a little bit of kishka, Hashiveinu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Ameinu Kekedem Al Tashlicheinu Milfanecha Beruach Kodechecha Al Tikach Mimenu Al Tashlicheinu Le'etzikna Kichlot Kocheinu Al Tazveinu. And then it would go to Shema Kolenu again. And that's where I would leave it. This is, a melody that's sung while the congregation is standing. It usually has a little intensity to it. And so therefore I would give it a little bit of attention there. But let's go on to 234.
Okay, on 234 we have Ki Anu Amecha. It starts with the word ki, the third line down. It's its own line. Ki, it gets its own line in this machzor. And we all remember that. We'll just sing it through together right now. Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu anu anecha ve'ata avinu anu avadecha ve'ata adonenu anu ke'alecha ve'ata kekeinu anu nachlatecha ve'ata goraleinu anu sonecha ve'ata roveinu anu charmecha ve'ata notreinu anu feulatecha ve'ata yotzreinu anu rayatecha ve'ata dodeinu anu segulatecha ve'ata keroveinu anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu anu mamirecha ve'ata mamireinu. Okay, now we are finding ourselves back in the Vidui. We did one already in the Silent Amida, and we're going to do it again. So we're starting with Ashamnu on top of page 235. And we'll do that together also right now. Just make sure to, beat your chest appropriately, and let's do it. Careful of pronunciation. Ashamnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, dibarnu dofi. He'evinu, Yershanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker. La la da 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 la 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 da 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 Yatsnu ra Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Orev. Ay 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu. Ay 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 I've always wondered why we have such a joyous sounding melody for something that's so serious.
Answer
think-
to that, my answer to that is that we can't handle it. We can't handle it. It's our way of compensating for the seriousness of it. It's just too much. We need the relief. That's why major melodies come in the holidays. Go ahead. Back to
Yeah,
you.
I heard another interpretation also, which is that it's basically like this great statement, like we're all in it together. Don't be bummed about it. We're all here too. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing these things. All right, we're on to the Al Chet section, which is the longer confession on page 237. And again, I think we talked about this before, but in case it wasn't clear, each one of these sections of Al Chet that's separated by the Ve'al Kulam melody and line in between, we start it out loud if you can, and end it out loud. So, and then do the intermediate lines privately. So you would do Al Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'ones uvratzon, ve'al Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'imutz halev. And then you go yum, mumble. And then to the next one, after you've done those to yourself, you go Al Chet shechatanu lefanecha beyetzer hara. We're down at the red diamond in case I didn't make that clear. Al Chet shechatanu lefanecha beyetzer hara, ve'al Chet shechatanu lefanecha beyod'im uv'lo yodim, ve'al kulam elo aselichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. And even though that has the B part, like Ve'al Kulam, I usually save that for the end. Because we do this Ve'al Kulam, we repeat it 3 times. So I usually save that for the last one, kind of give it a little drama to the end. Rabbi, I could not for the life of me, and nobody else could remember, how the other melody went today during the class. Can you do it for us right now?
Kulam elo aslichot, slach lanu mechalanu kapelanu.
There you go. So you got your choice of melodies there. Unfortunately, the other one is always going to come to mind for me first because I've known it. Like, there are very few of these things that I've known since I was a kid, but that's one of them. So that's the one that's always going to come to my mind first. So if I forget that other one, Rabbi, you'll be there to remind me. Okay? All right. So we're going to go back to the Al Chet again. So right below that, Al Chet shechatanu lefanecha bechachash uvchazav, ve'al Chet shechatanu lefanecha bechapat shochad. And then you would go silent until the next diamond on top of page 238. Top of 238. Al Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'enayim ramot, ve'al Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'azut metzach, ve'al kulam Eloach selichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. And you continue to chant the next 2 lines. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bifrikat ol, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha biflilut. And then to yourself silently. And again, when I say the next 2 lines, I always mean the English or the Hebrew, whichever is easier for you. Back to the next diamond. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bitzomet yad, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'timhon levav, ve'al kulam Eloah selichot, selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu. Now go for the drama. Ve'al kulam Elo selichot, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu, kapelanu. And I want to point out the third word. Somebody raise your hand and tell me how it's pronounced. The third word. Ve'al kulam. How's that next word pronounced? Somebody brave. Unmute yourself. Nobody remembers? Okay. The word is Eloah. What? Sue, did you do it?
Yeah, only because I read the transliteration. On the left.
Fine. However you get there, you get there. That's fine. That works for me. All right, everybody, it's Eloah, not Aloha.
Yes.
Eloah.
Eloah.
Eloah. And if you can get the
Eloah.
Aloha, kind of pant
Eloah.
after you get exactly the right thing. You know who's
Eloah.
really good at this is Jonathan Ehrlich. If you listen to Jonathan when he's chanting Torah, every once in a while you're going to hear him do this. Okay, so take a listen to Jonathan if you get a chance. All right, so we go on. The next thing is 242, Rachamana. Okay, we did that. We spent quite a bit of time on that the other night. We're not going to spend quite as much time on it now, but this is that great Lubavitch melody that we learned. So here's how it goes. Rachamana de anelani So would you mind remuting yourself, please?
Yes, just sorry.
It's okay, don't worry. You sound great. Just don't want to mess up the recording. It's fine. You sound great. Keep it up. Do it just that way. Okay. Let's start again. Remember, de'ane, in the second word is repeated. And then you got to get your krechs in there. You got to get your ayay. And then if you don't get the ayay, you're not doing it right. Okay? So let's start again. And Sue, I want to see the ayah. I don't want to hear it, but I definitely want to see it. Okay, so don't forget it. Rachamana de anelani again. Rachamana de anelani Rachamana de'ane laniye hanena Rachamana de'ane laniye hanena Rachamana de'ane laniye. You get the picture, right? You could do this melody, like, it's another one of those things you could just do it over and over and over, and you can pick up the speed, don't pick up the speed, whatever. It's just kind of infectious, and it carries so much with it. I love this melody. And again, you don't have to sing any more than that first line to really, get the most out of this melody. But, do read through the rest of the Aramaic if you're up to it, or the English, or the transliteration, whatever speaks to you. Okay? Now, on to the next. We are almost done. Avinu Malkeinu. Okay? Avinu Malkeinu, which needs no introduction and probably no repetition from us, but we're going to sing it so that we're complete with the whole recording. Okay? Avinu Malkeinu, careful on the pronunciation. Chonenu v'anenu, Avinu Malkeinu Chonenu Vanenu Ki Ein Banu Masim Aseh Imanu Tzedaka V'Chesed Aseh Imanu Tzedaka V'Chesed Ve'Hoshienu Avinu Malkeinu. Right? You know this. We don't have to repeat it, but you can repeat it, and probably it's a good idea to repeat it because this is the end. You made it. If you made it to Avinu Malkeinu, you're done. Okay? If you are one of the, I would imagine, few groups that actually have a minyan, and you want to finish with the Kaddish Shalem, it's the same version of it that you would do on Shabbat. We don't do the fancy Hasidic Kaddish except for Musaf, and even then I generally try to hold on to it until the very last Kaddish of Nila. But that being said, this is the same one you do on Shabbat. Yitkadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Yirutei V'yamlich Malchutei, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through it because I don't think most of us here are going to be davening with a minyan. So, Rabbi, we made it through with time to spare.
We made it through with time to spare. Wonderful exercise. As gone through it, of course, we noticed that there are plenty of pages that we are skipping here, and the reason why we're skipping is because they're quite lengthy, and we traditionally have skipped those pages in the Mariv service. Some actually we don't. Some are a little more evocative. The Misha Ana Lavoteno, that litany Hu Yanenu.
Yep.
So what? There are two things that are going to happen. One, this class is recorded, so it's available. We are recording all of the melodies, and we are pledged to record the service too, so that it will be accessible to you. I do fear for the momentary lapse in memory of a melody and the frustration that will ensue. I wish it wouldn't. I know I get frustrated when I don't remember a melody, so I can't expect people not to be frustrated. But obviously, the English will suffice, and any melody that pops into your head will be just as good. The idea of this evening is to find a certain space and to enter into that place. Obviously, in the moment that we're in, without the community. The other thing I want to say is that I haven't put it on the calendar yet, but as we go through these classes, I'm thinking that especially with regard to the Mariv for Yom Kippur and the Musaf, we should probably put up a rehearsal evening for the congregation just to kind of review. I'm assuming that the last minuters who did not avail themselves of these classes will want some immediate refresher, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to put something like that together so that people can get a refresher. I know for me, just having the opportunity to sing the melodies and to get the emotion of it has made a profound difference for me. It's a flattening of the curve in the sense that we spend a lot of time on the one day of Yom Kippur to have all the intensity. So here we've placed all the intensity over the course of some time. Pluses and minuses to that, obviously. We like the intense experience, but having these songs and melodies with us over the next 30 days is going to do a lot for our neshamas. So I want to thank the Chazan for that, and he's going to have a comment too here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to take, if I may, to take a quick pulse of the room and to see, now that we've been doing this for a few weeks, I'm really curious to know from you how you feel. Are you feeling like you're getting what you need from us, that you're feeling confident, like this is actually something, this is doable?
I'm going to pause the recording here so that it won't be recorded.